Welcome live to Freeport High School, where this evening Varsity Media Sports Network brings you Nassau Conference 1 football featuring the 3-0 Freeport Red Devils against the visiting 2-1 Oceanside Sailors. Good evening, everyone. Dylan Butler here with Ben Turchin. And Ben, it wasn't too long ago when these two teams met over at Hofstra University for the Nassau Conference 1 championship game. This is the first game since that moment. That one was a lopsided win for Freeport. We take a look at some of the highlights from that game. All Red Devils, all Terrence Edmond in this one. A 42-0 win for the Red Devils. Edmond, you see them there, 10 carries, 226 yards, 4 TDs, 2 passing touchdowns. Javian Allen, 7 carries, 104 yards. Arnold Cruz, 2 receptions, both for touchdowns. Tristan Saab, a sack. In that game, the Freeport defense held Charlie McKee, their stud quarterback, to just 68 passing yards on 14 of 28. That was the final score. The good news, if you are a Freeport fan, Ben, all those guys you mentioned, they're on the field tonight. If you're Oceanside, that's bad news.
Freeport is so loaded, Dylan. Number 1 in the state, ranked AA classification. For those that aren't too familiar, the biggest schools by enrollment, and they're number 1, Dylan. Oceanside, in comparison, is number 18. I think part of the reason, I know they're number 1 is because of all the players that you mentioned that are returning. So, Oceanside's going to have their work cut out for them. You know, we prepare a week in advance for games like this. You don't know what the storyline is going to be necessarily, but if you can't tell from the volume, if the winds aren't whipping loud enough, it's windy here. Take our word for it. And Oceanside is a team that loves to pass the ball. Are they going to be successful at that today?
Yes, that's the emerging theme, really, that you really, it's hard to prepare for during the week because you just want to run your usual stuff. But yeah, listen, Oceanside, it's a contrast of styles in this one. Oceanside, they want to get the ball in the air. They're a spread offense. We see spread across Long Island, but when we speak to Freeport's legendary head coach, Russ Ellen, he says this spread is unlike any that they've seen because Charlie McKee gets the ball out so quick. It's usually 1.2 to 1.5 seconds for him to get the ball out, which a lot of times he says negates his pass rush. Freeport, on the other end, they're a team that has been ground and pound since Sellen's been here for 34 years. They're looking to change their game a little bit. They're saying he can throw the football. For Oceanside, Andres Duran is going to have to also run the football. That's going to be a huge key for Oceanside, especially here today. Establish the run with Duran. Try to get those offensive or the defensive linemen for Freeport a little bit tired, and then you don't have to throw because you have to throw. You throw when you want to throw.
Andres Duran is a transfer from Lawrence High School. We talked about it on our stream when we did the Farmingdale game at Oceanside 2 weeks ago. Dylan, you can make an argument that Coach Blau got Duran for this game today. You need to establish the run. I couldn't agree more. Look at number 8 in the white uniform today. I would expect that Coach Blount will have him working early on offense to establish the pass, exactly what you said. My question is going to be, can Charlie McKee be successful with the downfield throws, Dylan? We're not talking about the passes in the flat to Flavin for 5 or 10 yards or even for 2 yards. We're talking about 15, 20, 25. Are those throws going to be successful today? Never mind the fact that Freeport has locked down defensive backs and safeties. Now you have to go up against the wind. I saw Coach Sellen before the game. I said, Russ, you already have a good enough defense. How did you get the wind in your defensive game plan too?
I said to him leading up, this is going to be football weather. He said, listen, to me, he said football weather is like 72, 73. This is a little bit chilly for Coach Sellen, but we are ready to go. Friday night, soon to be under the lights at Freeport High School. The kick is a short one. It's a pooch, and it's recovered by Freeport. So the Red Devils have tremendous field position. They'll get the ball at their own 48-yard line. Half field for this offense. What an offense it is. We mentioned at the top some of these guys. Virtually everybody is back, led by, of course, their quarterback, Terrence Edmond, a senior, a 3-year starter quarterback, a 4-year starter overall. There you see the rest of the guys. Stevenson, the 2 Allens, they're not related. Makai Jinks goes from offensive line to running back. That offensive line is big as well.
Dylan, I don't know that was a pooch as much as an onside kick. I think Oceanside wanted the ball to start this game. So a little bit of aggressive play by Coach Blount. It didn't work for him. And like you mentioned, Freeport with very short yardage to work with.
Out of the gun, Edmond looks to pass, drops back, has options, flushed out of the pocket. He runs, and he's wrapped up. Good job of pursuit. A multitude of sailors on that tackle.
Well, right there defensively for Oceanside, give them a lot of credit in the secondary. Edmond was looking to run. He was also looking for a receiver. Dylan downfield, nothing was open. Give credit for the sailors on defense.
So they'll back them up 3 yards, so a loss of 3 on that first play. After the next play, we'll show you we'll show it to you right now, the Oceanside defense. There you see them up front. Carlson, Gonzalez, Jackson, and Mullen. That linebacking core, Rob Blount is very high on Logan, Ruggieri, Duran, and Platia, McCormick, Schmidt, and Maish. Maish new to that secondary. We didn't see him start, but he had a very good game against Farmingdale. And really quick, a timeout by Freeport. So we mentioned the road for these two teams. Oceanside, we were there for their only loss of the year. They're 2-1. They opened the season, the Sailors did, 37-7 win at Hempstead. That really tough 43-36 loss to Farmingdale that we had on the Varsity Media Sports Network. And then a nice bounce-back win against their neighborhood rival, you'd say, Baldwin, 48-14. Rob Blount liked the response from his team in that game.
Yeah, look, they're the 2 seed coming in, so they expect to be on par with Freeport, or at least have an opportunity during the season to be right there with them record-wise. We're going to find out on par on the field if they can play with them, 42-0 last year. But Dylan, I think they need to be neck and neck. They expect to play Freeport again in a conference championship. So I think it was important for the Sailors to get back on the winning ways against Baldwin. But Conference 1, the next week, you got another tough game there.
Without a doubt. Freeport, we mentioned 3-0, wins over Port Washington, Massapequa, and Syosset, all lopsided wins. This is their really first true test, 2nd and 13. Edmond, low snap, hands it off. The run around the edge, breaking around the corner and going for the score. You back them back 3 yards, it doesn't matter. Touchdown, Freeport, Javian Allen.
And Freeport picks up right where they left off in the Nassau Championship. A big play touchdown for the Red Devils. They score early within a minute of the game. But Dylan, we do have an Oceanside defender on the field with an injury.
Javian Allen, a junior, a returning All-State player. We'll show you later on in the broadcast how many All-State players are in this game today. But what a job by Javian Allen. He just gets out to the edge, gets around the corner. Came into this game with 7 carries for 49 yards, so just about doubles that actually more than doubles that, right, on that 55-yard touchdown run. And there you see Maish up. Good to see for Oceanside. But that's how explosive this Freeport team is.
Yeah, talking with Blount during the week, he said we have to do a better job against the big plays. We can't give up the explosive plays. And right off the bat, Dylan, there you see it. It happens for them.
And that's the problem, I think, when you game plan for a Freeport, because there's so many guys as the kick is up, and it is good. Chase Gordon with the extra point. Came into this game 17 of 19 on PATs, and here we see it again. Just gets on the outside. Great upfield blocking. Look at that one right there.
Made a defender miss as well. Always takes one miss by a defender to free up, and he did a nice job.
So 55 yards to the house. That guy is a happy man right now. He won't show it, though. He's not going to smile until after the game if his team is victorious. But Javian Allen with the touchdown run, his 2nd touchdown run of the year, averaging, coming into this game, 7 yards a carry. That average is going up.
I think, this is going to sound weird, but I think this offensive possession for Oceanside is so important. It's their first. They didn't score in the championship game, and now they're down 7-0, Dylan. From a confidence standpoint, they need to know that they can play on the field with Freeport. To give the ball back and potentially go down 14-0, that's why I think this is so important right now.
I don't think it's crazy at all. And plus, this is a young, very young Oceanside team. Russ Allen, when we spoke to him this week, says, I don't know if I've seen a team. He said maybe us a couple of years ago being so young at so many positions. A lot of sophomores, some freshmen as well. That said, he said now's the time to get them. Come November, he said this is going to be a really, they're already a tough team. He said Oceanside's going to be a really good team come November. Gordon with the kick. It's fielded at about the 15. Return by Flavin, and he's taken down at about the 25-yard line.
Good coverage by Freeport there on the kickoff. Not much room for Flavin. We know he's an explosive player. We saw that in the game against Farmingdale, and I'm sure we'll call his number offensively today as well, number 3 for Blount. I'm very excited offensively to see what Oceanside does here, but we talked about it at the beginning, Dylan. I would expect, as we feel the wind right now, I would expect to see run in the beginning here.
Now we'll take a look at the Sailors offense, and it's led, of course, by their sophomore stud quarterback, Charlie McKee. There you see Berguglio. He enters the starting lineup. Pladia, Flavin, Schmidt. There's Duran. He's going to be a big key. Michael First, a freshman on the offensive line. He's going to be a big key as well for the Sailors today.
Not only is he a freshman, is he at the tackle position?
First is a left tackle, yes.
Protecting the blind side as a freshman.
McKee is taken down.
Well, but I was wrong, and I don't know that I would agree with this. You're starting the game. I'd be running the ball. I just think that's, from a strategy standpoint, you need to give the ball to Duran. He's the workhorse. He's the reason you have him on the team, and I'd like to see them feed him a little bit.
So a loss of 9 on the play. 2nd and 19, the sack by Howard. Shamel Howard, his 3rd sack, came in actually with 2.5 sacks. We'll show you their defense in a moment. There is the handoff. Duran trying to find something, nowhere to go. If they give him a little momentum, he might have gotten a yard, if that. Here's a look at the Freeport defense, and it's led by their guys up front. Stevenson especially, a great pass rush. There you see Norris, Howard, he had the sack, Saab as well, Arnold, Jinks, and Tucker, the linebackers, Allen, Quinn, Edmond, and Allen. No relation between the two Allens.
It's a big 3rd and long here for Oceanside with the wind.
Yeah, no gain on that. So 3rd and 19 from your own 16. McKee, here comes the rush. Just dumps it over the top. Over the middle, I should say, and not a lot there. That was to Flavin, and 3 and out for the Sailors.
Yeah, I mentioned that this was an important offensive series for Oceanside, and not much going on there for Rob Blount and the Sailors.
Yeah, they just get out to the 20-yard line, so brings up a 4th and 15. Looks like Allen is deep. Terrence Edmond is the short man. Javian Allen, a special athlete. We'll speak about him a lot. High snap, a good punt, and it bounces into the bench at about the 48-yard line. So we will have Freeport's 2nd possession when we return. You're watching Nassau Conference 1 football on the Varsity Media Sports Network. And here we go, back here at Freeport. Red Devils' 2nd possession. They scored in their 2nd play from scrimmage. Handoff, cutting inside and getting out. Good scamper of a run by Allen.
Allen is so shifty, and he could change direction on you at the stop of a dime. So it'll be very difficult for this Oceanside defense to track him.
Gets 8 on that play. There is Edmond calling his own number, and he'll get the first down.
Dylan, what I'm seeing is first level, Freeport has no problem getting through that. They're already to the linebacking core on every carry. So Oceanside needs to do a little bit of better job penetrating and getting behind the offensive line to stop these runs.
Shout out to all the fans and staff members and teachers, everybody that came out to support this game. Thank you.
First down. Edmond
wide open.
Looks to pass, and that is dropped. That is Allen, and he would have certainly gotten a few.
Dylan, big break there for Oceanside. Allen lining up in the flat or the slot. Nobody guarding him, and he could have taken that to the house.
When we talk Oceanside defense, it is also a young group. Logan Lyson, a freshman, starting at linebacker. You see him in that mix there, number 6.
Once again, folks.
2nd and 10 from the 30. You've got split receivers at the top of your screen. Fake handoff.
Wow.
Oh, Edmond calls his own number. Cuts inside, gets a first down and more.
Just the fake out there is what stopped Oceanside in their tracks. He was so good at faking the option and keeping it, and that's the reason for the big pickup.
18 yards to the 12. This time, handoff, touchdown again. Asani Allen with the score.
Boy, right now Freeport is just so dangerous. They're showing us exactly the kind of team they were a year ago and where they are now, up 3-0 and now 14-0 against the number 2 seed. The 18th best team in the state doesn't seem to matter.
Well, Oceanside is the 18th best. Freeport is the
first.
top team, and they're showing why on these first 2 possessions. Just machine-like precision. There's Gordon again. His extra point is up.
I want to see the that option play by Terrence Edmonds one more time. Let's just look at what he was able to do to draw that defense or stop them in their tracks. Just watch this. Boom. The fake.
Yeah, that was Lyson, number 6,
Lyson
the
stopped
freshman.
in his tracks. I mean, that was the play of the drive right there. I mean, I don't know if you can teach that. That was very
well,
impressive.
you know what it is? I think that's one of those situations where if it's successful on the bench, you're like, all right, cool. But if he somehow loses that ball,
right.
like if Lyson strips him there with it not being protected, I think Sellen. But again, that's where you get 3 years of experience at quarterback, a 4-year starter. Wow. Listen, Freeport has had some ridiculous football players throughout the years.
Right.
It's almost an unfair question for Sellen when we ask them, where is Edmond in that Mount Rushmore of terrific Freeport players? He's up there.
And not when you mention athletes, but not just athletes, quarterbacks at Freeport.
Oh.
Thorpe winners, I mean, college players.
Freeport will kick the 29-yard line.
We're going back to Oceanside's first offensive.
Against them, but you've got to establish that. There is the handoff, and they try to go up the middle. Nothing doing. There's that run-stopping middle of the Red Devils.
Yeah, that entire defensive front was right there, and nothing doing. But hey, you gotta try. You got to at least establish it to open up some of the wing guys, some of the receivers like Pladia, who had a great game against Farmingdale.
So loss of 2 on the play. 2nd and 12. Another handoff, and this time about a yard or so for Duran.
Dakari Stevenson, number 6 for Freeport, basically in the backfield as soon as Duran had the ball.
Listen, Stevenson's a tremendous athlete, another returning starter. We saw him line up at wide receiver. He didn't play offense a year ago, just on the defensive side, but an outstanding pass rusher. 3rd and 11. So this is what you don't want if you're Oceanside. McKee over the middle, complete, and the first down. Thomas Schmidt.
Schmidt had some big catches at the end of that Farmingdale game, and that was a big one on 3rd down. I thought that Freeport lined off offsides. I thought Arnold Cruz lined up offsides before the ball was snapped. The officials didn't see it. Look at Cruz where he's lining up right now, and tell me if he's not offsides.
Well, there you go.
Officials have pink flags for Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
The officials, if you notice, have pink flags for breast cancer awareness.
I think I just said that.
Offside on the Red Devils.
And that's not the first time that Cruz lined up like that. They missed it before on the third down make, so no harm, no foul there. But let's keep an eye on that. I just think that's a positioning thing by Cruz. Just take a step back because he's right over the football.
You're like our Tony Romo here.
But listen, that's a break for Oceanside, and they'll take it. A short 1st and 5 to work with. And really, Rob Blount can call any kind of play here on 1st and 5. And maybe Oceanside gets some momentum on this offensive series.
So that catch before by Schmidt. 2-year varsity starter, co-captain. Came into this game 13 receptions for 208 yards and a touchdown. Man in motion is Durant. He can catch the ball. McKee flushed out, slides forward, and look out.
Nice clean hit.
Stevenson up top, and then you had Dan Murphy below, and McKee did the right thing to slide. He had Durant in the flat, didn't see him. Durant was open, could have got that first.
So 1 yard.
With a stifling defense.
Brings up a 2nd and 4. And I think especially, Ben, when you get that short yardage on 1st down, you've got to convert. You've got to just move those chains and get that momentum that you mentioned.
Here, Freeport on the Nautical Mile for sponsoring this game. Make sure you go check them out. Elliott's on the bay, on the mile, I should say, here in Freeport. And I want to take a look at the Prospect New York State watch list. We bring this to you almost every game that we live stream. These are some of the athletes that you can expect to get looks at the next level. Dylan, you talked about Logan Lyson, the linebacker, number 6. We've talked ad nauseum about Charlie McKee, super sophomore. He's going to have an outstanding career, not only in high school, but at the next level as well. Andres Duran is a very good-looking running back, 5'9", 200. He's a class of 2021, number 8 for Oceanside. And then when I talked to Coach Sellen, that list is 3. That list could be the entire team,
it could
Dylan.
be 13 or 23.
We've already talked about Javian Allen. We list him as an athlete. He plays everywhere, number 2. Terrence Edmond at 5'11", 175 is a senior. He's getting college looks right now. Same thing with Arnold Cruz, number 7, but the list goes on. We'll talk about all these players.
Yeah.
We have some returning all-state players. The Freeport list, forget about it. Both of these teams are going to have athletes playing at the college level. So that's brought to you by Prospect New York State. That's their watch list. Of course, they run the showcase coming up in the spring of next year. We'll have more information about that.
2nd and 4 for the Sailors.
Into Red Devil territory for the first time.
Little motion
and
there.
a little motion, you're right.
Flag on the field.
Looked like it was Lyson.
And he gives it right back. I mean, just when Oceanside had a short 2nd and 5 or 4 to work with, Dylan, now they're backed up to a 2nd and 10.
We'll be walking it back.
And that one stings a little bit, so they'll call it 2nd and 9. But, you know, you start to see a little momentum. Had a 1st down on 3rd, got an offsides call, so you don't want to ever see that walk back like that.
That's one of those things that I guess if you're Blount, you've got to live with a little bit when you put a freshman on the field. We just mentioned Lyson on that watch list. He is a stud. And you see them back it up now, finally, back to the 42-yard line.
You know what it is? It's growing pains, but the goal is for Oceanside in a couple of years to be at the Freeport level, right? Because Freeport's got all the seniors now. They won the LIC last year, and they're the favorites to do it again. And I think Oceanside looks at Freeport and says, hey, maybe in a year or 2 we could be there.
Handoff. There's a powerful run by Duran. He will barrel towards the 45-yard line, which will bring up a 3rd down.
Yeah, there's just nothing going on up the middle there. You see the entire defense collapse. And no holes right now. So the offensive line for Oceanside just needs to do a little bit better job of opening up some running room for Durant.
Now I'll say this. It's not the worst thing. I mean, you've got to it's like a wall, right? This Freeport defense, you've got to chip away.
Yep.
But you also need stops, right? So it's kind of like a double-edged sword where you can live with getting 2-3 yards and just punishing their line if you're getting stops in the other end. If you're not and you're going 3 and out or one for
Interception.
But Freeport will maintain possession, a wild sequence. But Freeport jinxed with the INT. They will have the ball at their own 45, or at the Oceanside 45-yard line.
Well, you're going to kill me for saying this, but he almost jinxed his own turnover. I had to do it. Let's see right there. You're going to see the ball come right out in the air, but he has the wherewithal to grab it back. So just a nice play, playing center field. McKee never saw him. And Dylan, this Freeport defense is so tough. Reason why they're number 1 in the state, folks. You're seeing it right here.
First down for those.
You mentioned the wall. They wear red. They are the brick wall. I mean, it's very difficult to get any yards on this Freeport defense.
He's for 216 yards in 3 victories. He's only thrown the ball 16 times. You can see why he doesn't have to. Extra point is up, and it is good, but Edmond, just a freak athlete. We'll show it to you again.
So with 3:33 left.
I mean, look at the blocking. Even second-level blocking. Guys turning defenders sideways. That's in the trenches stuff that is a tremendous advantage for Freeport.
With Terrence Edmond at quarterback for Freeport, the Red Devils are 23-3. That's over the course of 3 years. They have a 15-game winning streak right now. Sellen calls him a phenomenal athlete. It's no secret that we like to run the ball, but he can throw. He does it with his feet. We just saw it there. He runs the offense. He gives us, he says, a lot of versatility. We haven't really seen him, and he hasn't had to throw the football, but he certainly can do that as well.
Yeah, there's no need to. First of all, on the Freeport side, like you said, they're not going to throw that much. It's a tremendously windy day here in Freeport, so I think even less of a reason to throw, where that's Oceanside's game, that's not Freeport's game. But the offensive line, the holes that they're opening up, and the speed of Edmond, it's the reason you're up 21-0.
One quote that I like from Sellen about Edmond, he said, when we line up at a 1-back, we're actually a 2-back. When we line up with 2 backs, we're actually a 3-back because of Edmond.
Like we said, number 1 in the state for a reason, folks. The defending LIC champion. Showing it here today, our varsity media live stream. Pretty impressive team, Dylan.
Yeah, because you'd say, really, where's the weakness? Really, in all phases, right? I mean, those same athletes return kicks and punts. Gordon he hasn't had to make a field goal, but he makes all but 2 extra points. He also has 4 touchbacks on the season as well, kicking off.
The officials just moved the ball to the 40.
I mean, talk about a nightmare now if you're Rob Blount at Oceanside.
As Gordon gets set to kick.
We mentioned it in the open. You don't want to have to throw the ball. You want to be able to utilize that as a weapon. Now, Freeport knows you're going to have to. It is a windy night.
Yeah, I'm still not sure I'm throwing the ball 3 times here. I like to see if I can get anything going with the run. Maybe there's some other play calls that Oceanside can factor in offensively. Because, Dylan, I'm just afraid that the way their passing game is going, you're going to give the ball right back to Freeport. We'll have a flag here on the kick return.
And there is Pladia with the return. He's forced out of bounds at about the 24, but as you mentioned, a flag is on the play.
I almost think you have to continue to run the ball. You have to show Freeport that you're committed to the run.
Today, in case you're wondering why the flags are pink, for breast cancer awareness.
So we have our officials. We're going to check to see where that infraction was.
Dylan, what's scary, if you're a Long Island football fan, whether it's Nassau or Suffolk County, you're watching this game. This is the 2 seed in Nassau County, Oceanside, right? This is the second best team in Conference 1.
Well,
and
I mean,
it's
preseason.
21-0 right now.
There you see the holding call. You could certainly make the argument, because they went to Oceanside and won, that Farmingdale might be the second best team, but they're right there with Oceanside. They host Freeport in 2 weeks' time.
15-yard line.
That will be a big game. Like you said, we saw Farmingdale, and that was a close game. I mean, that was a interception game, a one-score game with 30 seconds to go.
Before that interception that McKee just threw, that was his only interception of the year. So they are backed up now to their own 14-yard line. I'll give you McKee's numbers after this first play. Very impressive stuff from the sophomore. Man in motion is Schmidt. Hands it off. End around run. Good job by Schmidt.
Like the play call by Oceanside, it's still a run. They do something different. It's not Duran up the middle. They know they're struggling up the middle, Dylan, so try something else around the end, and you have success.
And that's that versatility as well of Schmidt. He'll get 6 yards out to the 20, 2nd and 4. There you see McKee comes into this game 64 of 96, 67%, 858 yards, 8 touchdowns, a flag on the play.
Going to get offsides on Freeport. And is that enough for a first?
It would be.
Offsides on the Red Devils.
I think it's Oceanside's second first down of the game.
Correct.
But that's what they need, a little bit of confidence, Dylan. Get something going here. Get a couple of first downs together. And really what's important is clock, possession. Hold the football. Keep it away from Freeport's offense. That's what you got to see here if you're Oceanside.
So a fresh set of downs for the Sailors. Trips right. McKee fakes, takes it himself, cuts inside, and he is hammered. Flag on the play. He's hit at about the 29-yard line.
Well, that was a big-time hit up the middle. Again, I like the play call as McKee is gingerly walking back to the huddle. He got nicked up for sure. But, Dylan, that's another run. Yes, it wasn't a handoff to Duran, but the quarterback is running the ball. So Oceanside is coming up with different looks, but maintaining the run, and I like that.
And to add, I was going to say, it's an offensive hold is the call. Sellen says, go ahead, back him up.
Unfortunate there for Oceanside as, you know, you have something going, you have a little momentum here, and now once again, now you can't really call those run plays. Now you have to throw the ball, and that's where they've been in trouble today.
So just again, backs him back up to the 15-yard line. A 1st and 20 for Oceanside. You see at the bottom of your screen, just about 3 minutes left in this dominant first quarter by the host Red Devils on a windy, cool, early evening.
It was 90 degrees 2 days ago. What happened?
This is good. This is football weather.
Yes, it is, even though Coach Sellen disagrees.
Duran with the run, cuts inside, gets a good block, but that's how quick that hole is swallowed up by the Freeport front line.
Duran had a shot at that hole, but ran into one of his offensive linemen. He needs to cut a little quicker. That hole was there for a 5-6 yard gain. A little unfortunate he didn't see it sooner, but not a bad play call by Oceanside.
So he gets just the 1 yard, bringing up a 2nd and 19. Freeport fans chanting Freeport, led by their cheerleaders. A really great atmosphere here on a Friday night. Inside handoff and a big run up the middle. Fumble, though.
I thought he was down. It's still Oceanside's ball anyways. They recovered. I thought he was down before the ball came out.
So Duran.
No flag, just a beanbag.
Oh, yeah, no flag. There wouldn't be a flag on the play.
Although, let's take a look. There you see Duran up the middle.
Yeah, he was down. He came down.
And also, it looks like Mullen was the one to recover for Oceanside.
Still Oceanside ball. 3rd down.
So they'll have the ball. That was a 10-yard gain out to the 26, but still it's going to be a 3rd and 9.
Great look by our cameraman, Ron, on that one.
Ball on the 26-yard line. 3rd down.
Faked handoff. Pressure comes. McKee goes over the middle. looking
Complete.
for Pladia. Incomplete. Flag, a late flag at that. Selin doesn't look happy. And you wonder if this is of the personal foul variety.
One thing I want to mention, that's a sophomore quarterback with a defender in his face, and the footwork that he showed you on that is amazing. Anybody that's a fan of football and is a fan of quarterbacks and just saw what Charlie McKee did on that play, outstanding footwork. Now, he overthrew the receiver down the field, Dylan. We talked about the win today and if that was going to be a factor, but I'm just amazed that a sophomore has that kind of footwork to get away.
Question is, was he hit late then, McKee? Because that's where the direction of the flag was. And here's the signal. Personal foul on the defense.
And that's a huge break for Oceanside. Not only is it a first down, but the ball is moving up. And you know what else, Dylan? One other thing, we talked about it. All this action here is keeping the football away from Freeport's offense.
It is that. 15-yard penalty out to the 41-yard line.
You gotta love the atmosphere here at Freeport, folks.
So let's see if Oceanside can capitalize here. 1:32.
Fans are doing the wave on the Freeport side. That is awesome. Well, some people don't like the wave. I don't know how you feel about it.
I'm not a fan.
You're not a fan of the wave.
No.
All right. I know, like, Noah Syndergaard of the Mets is not a big fan of the wave at Citi Field. Here at high school, I think it's okay.
Flag on the play. Neutral zone infraction, perhaps, and again against Freeport. So that's what you pointed out early, Ben, that they're just lining up offside.
Yeah. That's the third time they've done that. It's the second time it's been called. The first time Oceanside converted on a third down anyway, so it didn't hurt. But, I mean, simply just line up behind the ball. That's all you need to do. It's a silly mistake.
And plus, you think with the athletes that Freeport has, just go ahead. Even if you back up further, you've got such unbelievable athletes up front that you can penetrate regardless. So 1st and 5 from the 46-yard line. Duran on the left hip of McKee. Trips left, and they get the call from the sideline. And another flag.
Somebody on the line may have moved early for Oceanside. They might give that 5 yards right back.
No, we're going to go even further up the field.
Wow, what's the call here?
And Freeport will talk it over after back-to-back encroachment penalties. 1:30 left here, first quarter. It's all Freeport. 21-0. You're watching Nassau Conference 1 football on the Varsity Media Sports Network. And welcome back to Freeport High School. Dylan Butler, Ben Turchin here on the Varsity Media Sports Network. Here's a look at, we mentioned earlier, the returning all-state players, and there is a plethora. All those highlighted guys there are the returning all-state players for both teams. 3 for Freeport. You see Edmond, as well as Allen and Cruz, and of course McKee as well for Oceanside.
There's a lot of talent here in one field around the state.
1st and 10. McKee fakes the handoff, goes left side, a great pass, and another first down. That was Schmidt with another reception.
Folks, it's not easy to get down the field on this Freeport defense, and that throw by McKee, that's unbelievable, that throw.
Yeah, that one especially. I think that you mentioned those 2 plays, one just getting up in the pocket. Watch this again. And now a little bit of rhythm as McKee again finding Schmidt.
Yeah, we'll try to.
Another first down.
will try to show these throws, but they're lining up in
well, yeah, I mean,
no
this is what
huddle.
they do. They get into this rhythm, and they want to keep moving. They've got the Freeport defense moving a little bit. They just came off a timeout, the Freeport defense. Pump fake, McKee, same side, and that looks like it's complete again.
3 Freeport defenders all over that receiver, still coming down with the ball.
Incomplete.
No, they call it incomplete.
Freeport with the swarming defense.
So that's what you get with McKee, especially when he's able to get that first one. And that's not just a McKee thing either. That's a Blount offense. They want to run it quick.
Well, I think it's also important when you mention that to get in a rhythm. And I think by running it quick, it helps to get the quarterback in some momentum rather than the flags going backwards, 3rd and 19. This is where Oceanside wants to be.
2nd and 10. Run left. About, it looks like 5 yards on that. Was it a fumble?
2 yards.
There was definitely a whistle, and you could see a bit of a scrum over the football.
Yeah, I just think the officials don't want this to lead to any extracurriculars. Dylan, 21-0. Field goals are not going to solve the problem for Oceanside. I would expect this to be 4-down territory. You're in a 3rd and long situation. I think a run is still in the mix here because I think they're going to go for it on 4th no matter what.
That's a 1-yard gain. As you mentioned, 3rd and long. Duran has run the football. Not a lot of success, but again, it's more sort of about establishing that run early to maybe get those yards as you move forward.
Got to keep the defense honest. And now they're just going to let the clock run out. I don't know if he's not going to come back to the field here and just let it play out.
And there's a timeout for, or that's the, timeout for Oceanside.
Hard to believe that we're still in the first quarter here.
I mean, it's been action-filled, and the field, until this last drive, has very much been slanted for the Red Devils.
Well, Oceanside hasn't had a lot of offensive possessions. This might be their 3rd, and it's the first time that they're in Freeport territory. Freeport's been that dominant.
And this will be the 9th play of their drive, but it's also a drive where they've been aided by 3 penalties at the line and also that personal foul. So 4 fouls on this drive alone, which started at the Oceanside 14 and is now down to the 15-yard line of the Red Devils.
You have to be lucky. You also have to be good. So they'll take not that it's luck, but to get the penalties helps them. But I also think some of the throws that McKee has made on this drive is a big reason why they are where they are. Now, that being said, you're going to need, I would think, at least one more big-time throw here because I'm sure Russ Sellin and that defense is going to dial something up, some sort of pressure coming his way on a 3rd and long situation and probably, I shouldn't say this, but possibly a fourth down situation.
Yeah, if you remember, too, on their last drive, it was stunted 4th play in by a Jinx interception over the middle, and then Freeport needed just one play to go to the house again by Terrence Edmond, a 45-yard touchdown run, which made it 21-0. We're back out of the timeout. You see 22 seconds left, first quarter. Really big play here for Oceanside. Schmidt and Pladia switched sides. Schmidt now back out to the left, Pladia on the right. On the right hip of McKee is again Duran. Handoff, nothing doing. What a tackle.
Dan Murphy.
Danny Murphy.
Murphy blew that up, Dylan.
Oh, Danny boy. So that is a loss of 5 yards, and Oceanside will let the quarter wind down on that play. So almost fittingly, the quarter ends on a big Freeport play because it was a big first quarter for the Red Devils. 21-0 for the defending Long Island champions. You're watching Nassau Conference 1 football on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
Join Elliott's on the Nautical Mile in Freeport all year round for lunch, dinner, or happy hour. Also available for all of your catering needs is our second-floor private waterfront dining room. Now booking all holiday parties. Check out our website for all of our upcoming events like our Comedy Night, Oktoberfest, Halloween parties, and weekend live music.
And welcome back to Freeport High School. Dylan Butler, Ben Turchin. A beautiful night for football. We had that a little bit a week ago where it started to get a little bit cooler when we were out at Glen Cove. But tonight I think it's legit. This is one of those nights where if you've got a nice hot cup of coffee or a hot cup of tea, you are golden.
Pull out your phone, go to YouTube.
Oceanside with a fourth down. And as you mentioned, Ben, certainly 4-down territory. Down 3 scores. You've got to get something out of this.
Fourth down.
You see those twin receivers on both sides. McKee gets the play. Duran is to his right. McKee surveys, finds Pladia, who takes the hit, but he's shy of the first down.
Yeah, it was a good play call, Dylan. Had Pladia. We haven't mentioned his name. Get him involved in the offense. The problem is it's 4th and long. And good defense by Freeport.
Yeah, they needed 13. They got 10.
But let's look at the positives for Oceanside as we take another look at that play.
Ball will be spotted at about the 11-yard line.
Pladia with a nice in route, but the defense is right on him. I mean, there's no breathing room. But the positive there, Dylan, you keep the ball out of Freeport's hands for I don't know how much time they had possession there.
When you give them a long field.
You give them a long field, and you gain a little bit of confidence. Even though they didn't put points on the board, they moved the ball with some help of some penalties, but also a couple of pass completions. So Oceanside feels a little more confident that they can move the ball tonight.
So Edmond back to work. He's got Jinx to his left and Allen to his right. Handoff to Jinx, cuts inside and nowhere to go for Jinx. The converted run, it's actually strange, Ben. He was a running back his whole life. They needed him to be an offensive lineman. He played the line the last 2 years. He's back now to being a running back, number 5.
Freeport, like we talked about, has so many athletes. You just never know who's going to touch the ball on this team. But nice job by Jay Jackson, 68, getting in on the tackle. And Logan Lyson, we mentioned his name a bunch at linebacker. Both of those guys coming in on the tackle.
So 2nd and 8 from the 13-yard line. You've got Stevenson at the top of your screen. And Osani Allen on the inside on left. Again, twin running backs. This is a cut inside and a good tackle there because that looked like it could have been for a lot more. Allen with the run.
Let's see who was in on the tackle. I think it was Duran. Duran playing defense, middle linebacker spot. That was a nice tackle.
This brings up a 3rd and 3 from the 18-yard line.
Big defensive play here for Oceanside. Can they force Freeport off the field?
Edmond calls his own number, cuts inside, and he is swarmed and taken down for a loss.
Well, that whole play was started by the end for Oceanside. You know, he maintained, sat right there, and wasn't fooled. I couldn't see who it was, but it might have been Matt Rosler, number 5.
For the first time this evening, the punting unit will be on.
But that's a big play for Oceanside, Dylan.
Yeah, that'll be a loss of 3. And Freeport, for the first time today, they will have to punt the football. They'll do so from just outside of their own end zone.
Red Devils back to punt.
There's the punt. And it goes over the head of Pladia. Takes a big Red Devils bounce. It is still rolling, and it will be downed at the 24-yard line.
That's how windy it is here, folks. Pushing that ball 5 yards. Big stop there by the Sailors, so they get the ball right back. Things were moving for them on the last offensive series. And now Dylan's about putting points on the board. You got to get in the end zone if you want to be in this game. Well,
they had the prospect of potentially getting the ball out at midfield. You saw Pladia kind of go to attack the football, but it bounces over his head. He was smart not to touch it.
Right.
I think the Jets might be calling
But then it
Sure could use him.
went behind him and took a nice roll for the Red Devils. So here come Oceanside. They are coming off their most successful drive.
Yes.
Because it was the longest they had, and they did march the ball downfield before turning it over on downs.
Oceanside.
1st and 10 at their own 24-yard line. Man in motion was Flavin, and he will get his number called, and
Nowhere to go.
I think he just gets back to the line of scrimmage.
Flavin's a player we called a lot during the Farmingdale game a couple of weeks ago. A guy that you could throw in the slot. You can give him the ball in the flat. He kind of does everything, a jack of all trades. And give Freeport a lot of credit. They've neutralized that weapon for Oceanside today, along with many other weapons today as well.
Yeah, we saw that one play by Schmidt where he got out in the space, but that's the other part of the problem. You've got those big physical dudes in the middle, but you've got such great speed on the outside as well, so it's hard to get on the outside of Freeport.
Yeah, Plady is another player that we mentioned a lot 2 weeks ago, and not much doing. There's pressure.
Yeah, McKee pump faked, and then he was knocked down.
Incomplete.
Shamel Howard, 63, coming in.
Yeah, Howard already has a sack on the day. Brings up a 3rd and
Howard with the tackle.
10.
Howard's been a man possessed. He's been all over the field.
Howard, a 6'1", 235-pound senior. He had an injury. They've been bringing him along slowly. This is the first time he's gotten extended minutes this year. McKee hands off up the middle.
Nothing doing, folks.
Looks like it was Duran. Flavin, excuse me.
Not sure about that call, though. 3rd and 10 or 3rd and long. You haven't had success up the middle. You're not going to go for it here on 4th.
You tried to draw and didn't get anything. Timeout by the officials. As it looks like an equipment issue maybe for Edmond.
Yeah, I can't imagine that Oceanside is going to go for it on 4th here. Coach Blount has to bring the punting unit on. So a little bit of an interesting call there on 3rd down.
8:25 left till halftime. In case you're just joining us, our score: the Red Devils 21, Oceanside.
Looks like the official, the head referee, is talking to both teams.
Well, this is the first of 2 games on slate this weekend for Varsity Media Sports Network. We stay in Nassau County, but go about as north from here as you can go, as Seaford against Cold Spring Harbor. You can watch that live tomorrow night right here on this same YouTube channel. 6 o'clock kickoff out at Cold Spring.
So tonight we had the 1 versus 2 seed preseason in Conference 1. Tomorrow we have the 1 versus 2 preseason in Conference 4.
Coached by the legendary Russ Sellers.
Oh.
And just like Freeport, Cold Spring Harbor, the reigning Long Island champions in Conference 4. John Mendreski doing a great job with the Seahawks up there.
Looks like another flag, or at least a whistle by the officials. That's like a sideline warning against Freeport. So no yards, just a warning. Here's the punt. It is up. It will bounce at the 50, and it is downed by Oceanside at about the 47-yard line.
Not sure Edmond really saw that ball was loose. He was blocking and didn't come that close to hitting him, but he's fortunate that it didn't touch his leg or any part of his body where that could have been live.
So, Ben, I've been out here a number of times on a Friday night. This is your first time here at Freeport. What do you think of the atmosphere?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, Conference 1 football, you got the #1 ranked team in the state, not only Long Island, but in the state. We have an opportunity to pit 1 versus 18 around New York State. The fans came out. The band is here.
The Red Devil is here.
Yeah, the Red Devil mascot. Oceanside traveling well on the other side of the field. This is what high school football is all about.
Look at this play. Allen goes downfield. It's complete. And what a saving tackle. And the flag. A little trickery. Allen with the pass. Aravalaga.
Plenty of room, stepping back, wide open player, getting through the backfield, the secondary, I should say. And you're right, what a tackle there by Dan McCormick, or that's a touchdown.
I think it was a horse collar. But regardless, I mean, you take it because Aravalaga was going to be in the end zone. So there's that big play situation again that you mentioned. 1st and goal from the 7, so a 40-yard completion.
Boy, they have everything in their bag of tricks, don't they? They can beat you with the run, can beat you with the pass, they can beat you defensively.
And we really even haven't even seen Edmond throw the football. That was Allen throwing the football. So 1st and goal from the 7-yard line. And Edmond will call a timeout. We will take a break with him. 7:22 left here in the first half. It's all Freeport Red Devils with a 21-0 lead. You're watching Nassau Conference 1 football on the Varsity Media Sports Network. And welcome back to Freeport High School. Dylan Butler, Ben Turchin.
Also, don't forget, tomorrow Macy's is having a doorbuster sale.
Freeport
Doors open at 8
with a
p.m.
21-0 lead. Their schedule looks pretty favorable, I think, going forward. They are home for Baldwin next week. That Farmingdale game you mentioned, that's a big one, out at the Dale. That's on the 18th. Then they're home for Hempstead and at Uniondale to end the regular season. Again, they went 12-0 a year ago. They're 3-0. I have not been that good at math, but I know that's 15 straight wins. As we have a 1st and goal now from the 7-yard line. Man in motion. Allen inside, touchdown.
Allen breaking tackles left and right. Again, athleticism, folks. That's what you see here with this Freeport team. More athletes than any team around the state. And it's evident and on display again with Allen.
Yeah, and Osani Allen, the junior, is a guy who can do a little bit of everything, right? He can play running back. He could be the receiver. He's one of several players this year who have made big strides in the offseason. He's a guy who didn't see a lot of time a year ago. There's the point after attempt. It's up and good. But Osani Allen really has worked his way into being a player who cannot leave the field.
Just a little run left side. The hole is huge. Little skip over a defender there. And the rest is history.
Well, again, you don't need many plays for Freeport to score. That's a 2-play drive. They only needed one their last drive, which was a 45-yard touchdown. There you see the great Russ Zellen. 34 years here at Freeport has just been, I mean, when you talk Conference 1 especially, right, and you could even argue throughout all of Nassau County, I think you put him and you put Buddy Krummenacher of Farmingdale in a class of their own. You've got a guy like Rob Blount, Kevin Shippos over at Massapequa, younger coaches. They're kind of that next generation. Zellen gave a lot of credit in our conversation this week. to Blount, saying he's a great young football coach, a great offensive mind, but he's been here for 34 years, and he says obviously some of the names change, some of the kids change, but we're not going to change. We're going to run the same stuff. Stop us if you can, and really not many have in the last couple of years.
Yeah, the kids may change, but the type of kid that he has here at Freeport, that doesn't change. And when you have this kind of level of athleticism, it's easy to see why there's really nothing to change here with the way Russ Ellen coaches, and he's coached very successfully for 34 years, Dylan, as you've mentioned.
Look to be Pladia trying to return, and there's Murphy again. We've called his number a few times today.
The defense has been outstanding. The special teams unit has been outstanding. Murphy's been outstanding. Tristan Saab has been unbelievable, 55. You're running out of superlatives to say about this. I really don't know what else I could say. It's very impressive.
Yeah, Murphy's another guy that Sellen points out has made massive strides in the offseason. He said a lot of guys that he's had, Murphy being one of them, just absolutely lived in the weight room in the offseason. And those are things you always hear coaches say you can't fake that when the season starts. You either know they did or didn't. So another long field here for Oceanside. They're back at their own, looks like 13-yard line, and there's the handoff. And again, they're trying to establish that run between the tackles. And it's been unsuccessful so far. Maybe 2 yards on that one for look to be Duran.
Well, you're deep in your own territory. That's number one. You want to keep the ball away from Freeport. That's number two. And you want to milk some clock here. I know it's weird to say you're down 28-0, but you need to establish time of possession. And the pass game hasn't been that successful for the Sailors. So, I kind of agree with Coach Blount and the offense. Give the ball to the running back and see if you could break a tackle.
2nd and 8. McKee, he will go deep. Incomplete. Looked like Schmidt was the intended receiver.
You want to talk about some of the best quarterbacks on Long Island? There you just saw a pass. It wasn't complete, but the arm and the strength of Charlie McKee on display on that pass. It was not a connection, unfortunately. But, Dylan, when you're a college coach, you put tape on, you look at that arm, forget that it wasn't complete. That's got to impress you. Sophomore quarterback.
No doubt. And I think another thing when you look at McKee, or two more things, one is how quickly he can get the ball out. We've said it before. He's been clocked at like 1.3 to 1.5 seconds is his release time, and his feet. We saw that earlier too, where he was forced out of the pocket, but he still had that composure as well. When I say feet, he has quick feet. Doesn't mean that he's necessarily going to go run like Edmond does. There you see him just roll out, try to find Pladia. It goes into the Oceanside bench though.
Yeah, I don't know if he needed to throw that a little high there because Freeport's defense, his secondary, was right on Pladia. There was a window, but it wasn't a large one there for McKee. But Dylan, again, it's very difficult for Oceanside to complete these passes downfield. You see that there's only a couple that have been completed against Freeport. Is that McKee?
That's what I'm wondering. Looks like Logan, is it?
Looks like Logan.
When we mentioned Freeport's upcoming schedule, Oceanside, Blount said, look, even if we come out of this game we're 2-2, we've played Farmingdale and we've played Freeport, right? He goes, so looking forward, we're at Uniondale. We've got Plainview, Old Bethpage at home. We're at Syosset, and we end the regular season against Massapequa. So certainly the tougher portion of their schedule will be behind them as they enter Week 5.
Yeah, I mean, the expectations from a season as a whole perspective is still very high for Oceanside.
If we could get Joe Madden as our manager.
And some of those games that you said are more than winnable, so you would expect their record. You do expect them. Listen, assuming they go on to lose this game, this might be their only loss the rest of the way.
Yeah, and you'll take 6-2 and go into the playoffs. And again, so many sophomores and freshmen. That experience that you've had in 8 weeks of regular season football, only obviously helps you.
I think the goal for Farmingdale and Oceanside is to not wind up as the 4th seed, because if you're the 4th seed, you're going to play Freeport in the semifinals, and you'd rather see them in the championship game. So I think that if everything stays the same and Farmingdale Oceanside wind up being 2-3, they'll live with that. They'll be happy with that.
And listen, and we mentioned we love to see that game again, right? So if you've got that 2-3 and it's Oceanside Farmingdale, wow, what a game that was. We spoke to Blount about that this week, right? Because that was the last time that we saw them in person. They had that game under control, right? First half, they had opportunities to really put Farmingdale away, squandered those chances. Farmingdale comes out, right? Kevin Wilson, their great running back, really all-purpose guy, starts the second half with a big kickoff return for a touchdown. One of 2 special teams touchdowns for Farmingdale. They come back, win it. We mentioned that interception on the last play of the game. So that was Oceanside regrouped, and they kind of realized, look, we did actually play a good game in that one. We gave up the big plays. We didn't take advantage of an opportunity that we had against a very good football team. So those were lessons learned from that game.
Yeah, without a doubt. They had some plays I think Coach Blount would want back in the first half, and then obviously McKee would want that throwback there late in the game that sealed the deal for Farmingdale. But Dylan, give Farmingdale credit. I mean, for them to seek revenge on the road, hostile environment, and come up with that victory after the semifinal last year, pretty impressive.
1st and 10, another touchdown. This time it's Jinx, straight to the house, 35-yard touchdown.
Well, we're talking about Oceanside 2 weeks ago and the big plays, and that's all we've seen from Freeport today, Dylan. Big plays. Every single one of their touchdowns, well, with the exception of the previous one, have been big gainers, breaking through the offensive line, nobody around. I really don't know what else more you could say about this team.
Well, Ben, really, we'll go back and we'll look at them, but they've not had they haven't needed an extended drive.
It's all big plays. It's all explosive plays, and this is what what it comes down to is they are just so much more athletic. They have speed, physical, toughness, everything you want out of a football player, and they have that in spades, Dylan, as we take another look.
This time it's just Jinx, and again, the
no
converted
one touches him.
Offensive. That's a dude that was on the offensive line a year ago for back-to-back years. And Jinx gets to the house for another score. All Freeport at this point. 5:42 to go here. First half, Red Devils 35-0. You're watching Nassau Conference 1 football on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
Join Elliott's on the Nautical Mile in Freeport all year round for lunch, dinner, or happy hour. Also available for all of your catering needs is our second-floor private waterfront dining room. Now booking all holiday parties. Check out our website for all of our upcoming events like our Comedy Night, Oktoberfest, Halloween parties, and weekend live music.
And welcome back to Freeport. Dylan Butler, Ben Turchin here, and just a clinic right now by the Red Devils. And you mentioned quick scores. We will give you the full recap before the start of the second half, but just a quick look. First drive, they score in their second play. The second drive that they had was their longest without a score. It took them 5 plays. Their third drive, 1 play. They actually punted the ball in their fourth drive. The fifth drive, 2 plays. And their sixth drive, 1 play.
Incredible. Just an incredible football team. Real pleasure to watch here in the regular season. We had the fortune to broadcast the LIC last year. Ooh!
And Pladia with the return, and he is hammered by, looked like Allen.
Yeah, 3.
Asani Allen.
And that was an unbelievable game. William Floyd
at
Hofstra last year. Unreal game, 2019 final score. We had the fortune to broadcast that one, and to come back here for a home game and see the atmosphere and just see how good they are at home is really incredible.
As always, we'd like to thank the Oceanside fans.
Yeah, and also, a lot of credit goes as well to the support staff around here, right? We had the band out here before. You heard them playing a moment ago. The cheerleaders do a great job, and big crowds come out. So it's I always say it, high school football Friday night, Long Island is about the community, and the community certainly comes out for these Red Devils.
It'd be nice to see more Friday night games around Long Island. I know that not everybody has the lights, and sometimes, security could be an issue and things of that nature. But you look around the country, Dylan, and high school is played on Friday night, and we're starting to see that grow a little bit more here, but it would be nice to see it grow even more.
I mean, look, we just go back a few weeks, right? Oceanside, what an incredible atmosphere that was.
Yep.
The 309, the pack in the stands, and Farmingdale showing up across the field. 309 again, you could see them at the kind of top of your screen there. They're all wearing their white, packing that one set of bleachers on that far sideline. Duran powers forward, and he will get a first down.
It's the first time Oceanside has had success up the middle, enough for a first down, and a nice run there. I don't know if it was Duran or Flavin.
Yeah, Flavin, my bad.
Yeah, but Flavin getting a little bit of a crease there and making it work.
Yeah, so you move the chains, and again, maybe that is that chipping away that you've been doing, trying to push the football up the middle.
Yeah, I think at this point in the game, it's about, hey, let's get better as an offense. What kind of plays can we run here to gain some success, gain some momentum and confidence?
And that's Flavin again on the Wildcat. He tries to cut inside, but you could see the pursuit by the Red Devils.
Well, we talked about that. We hadn't seen Flavin's number called most of the game, so I give Coach Blount some credit. He's trying some creative ways to get him involved. That time, I think it was on a Wildcat formation.
Well, that's what we've seen this too, right out of Blount, with different personnel for a few different years. This will likely be a whole series of Flavin as the Wildcat, as you see him getting the call from Blount. A lot of times it allows your quarterback, this case McKee, just to get a break, maybe get some perspective on the sideline that you don't normally have. You could see some things from the sideline. And again, Flavin bounces off his own offensive lineman, and he's taken down for a loss.
Yeah, and give Freeport a lot of credit here. They're up 35-0. They could easily take a step back or not play with the same momentum and enthusiasm they played for the entire game. But, Dylan, that is not the case. They are just as hungry now, up 35-0, as they were at the start of the game.
Well, that's another question that we asked Ross Sellen, and it wasn't about this game specifically, but just about the season, right? I mean, you come off a 12-0 season. It doesn't get better than that. You win the LIC. You've got a lot of guys back, and you wonder about complacency, right? You've won it all. What can you do from there? And he said, without a doubt, that's a concern. He said, but he's got enough leaders on this group. He said the leaders a year ago were incredible. Justin Flair leading the way, and Jackson as well. Great leaders. Michael on that team, as we have a timeout by Oceanside.
Well, I think what you could have here is the makings of maybe a record-setting winning streak. Now, I know Garden City right now, they have somewhere in the 30s right now, I believe, the longest. But, maybe he's not going to tell us this, but maybe he's telling the team, hey, you could be part of something special. We've got a tremendous amount of talent here going into even next year. Who knows?
Yeah,
maybe that's momentum for them or motivation.
Again, they're not related, but you get the two Allens are back in a year, right? So Javian Allen will be another 4-year starter for Freeport. A lot of seniors up front. Jaden Jackson on the line. He's a junior. So you do have some returning players in a year's time. And you're right. I think, though, to get that kind of a winning streak at Conference 1 is so much harder. Again, it's no disrespect necessarily to Garden City and their opponents, but you're not playing the caliber of opposition that you do on the Conference 1 level week in and week out.
No, there's no two ways around that. And not only that, but you got the team on the other side of the field that would have something to say about that next year. We talked about how young Oceanside is now, but McKee a junior next year, and some of these other guys.
Yeah, Lyson is a sophomore in a year's time.
Duran is back next year for Oceanside, so I totally agree. Will Freeport be the 1 seed next year? Who knows? They're graduating so many seniors. But But when we talk about complacency and things of that nature, and you've got this winning streak that we both think, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I think we both expect Freeport to run the table this year, regular season Conference 1, that streak is only going to grow.
Regular season, yes, I agree with you. I'm interested to see maybe how things change. And again, I'm looking forward to maybe seeing that game out at Farmingdale, right? That'll be a good test, and that'll be really their last test of this regular season for Freeport. Back off the timeout. And again, Flavin calls his own number. They try to strip the ball from his hands. Good job holding on to the football, and it'll be a 4th down.
And I know you had mentioned that this is kind of a series that Flavin will handle. If Coach Blount decides to go for it on 4th, I would think about putting McKee in here, but I don't know that they're going to do that.
Yeah, it looks like they'll punt the ball away.
Closer to halftime. The marching band
Deep
lining up.
is Allen. The short man is Edmond. We will be treated by the Freeport marching band at halftime. One of the better, I don't know if they have a ranking, but certainly one of the better marching bands around Long Island. Nice bounce for Oceanside. It will be down at just about the 20-yard line. So if you're Oceanside, Ben, I think the challenge, and Blount kind of joked about it, but I wonder if it's one of those joking but not really joking, is to just score, right? I mean, you look back a year ago, we showed you those highlights at the top from the Nassau championship game, but you go back to week 3 a year ago here, 38-0 for Freeport. Conference 1 final, 42-0, and now it's 35-0.
The scores are going up, and Oceanside's not scoring. So, yeah, I think that's got to serve as some motivation is let's at least get on the board here before this game is all said and done.
And it looks like Oceanside will just go into like a victory formation, and they'll take a knee for the remainder
Freeport takes a knee
of this first half. So, listen, we knew they had athletes. We knew they had a variety of athletes. We knew they were on both sides of the football. And we can't say we're surprised by what we've seen from Freeport in the first half, but certainly very impressed.
Yeah, and I'm glad that we were able to bring this caliber of a game to the Long Island football fans and maybe around the country who are watching, because if you don't have something to do on a night that Freeport is playing football, I'd want to watch this team. This is one of the best teams around, best in the state, and fun to watch still. I mean, 35-0 on a very good Oceanside team. I don't know what else you can say.
Yeah, that's the thing you mentioned too. It is fun, right? I mean, sometimes it's teams that scheme, and it's the sometimes boring football, and it's just not the case here. Some incredible athletes, great support, a fantastic head coach, and the result is what you see at the bottom of your screen. All Freeport at the moment, 35-0 for the Red Devils. We're going to take a break. We'll show you perhaps marching band at halftime. We'll get you all those first half scoring summaries. There's a lot of them to be had when we return. Again, Nassau Conference 1 football. You're watching it right here on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
Interested in sponsoring a live stream broadcast? Varsity Media streams offer tremendous visibility for your business. Contact us today at 866-577-1950 for rates and packages. Interested in sponsoring a live stream broadcast? Varsity Media streams offer tremendous visibility for your business. Contact us today at 866-577-1950 for rates and packages.
Yeah. Set me free and give me death, there ain't no other choices. When I lay down to go to sleep, I keep on hearing voices. Little whispers in my head, man, is you fake or loyal? Why no water, death designer, baby, pick your poison. These little demons living underneath my bed, creeping. Know the real monster lives above them all, sleeping. That subtle breathing in your closet every single evening. Thought you never see me again, looks can be deceiving. When they hear the sound of the drum, they'll be saying, oh Lord, here they come. Yeah, here we come. Here we come. Here we come. Here we come. And when you hear the sound of the drum, we'll be saying, here we come. Yeah, here we come. Hey, here we come. Here we come. Here we come. Yeah, here we come. Hey, here we come. Hey, here we come. Here we come. Yeah. Set me free and give me death, there ain't no other choices. When I lay down to go to sleep, I keep on hearing voices. Little whispers in my head, man, is you fake or loyal? Why no water, death designer, baby, pick your poison. These little demons living underneath my bed, creeping. Know the real monster lives above them all, sleeping. That subtle breathing in your closet every single evening. Thought you never see me again, looks can be deceiving. When they hear the sound of the drum, they'll be saying, oh Lord, here they come. Yeah, here we come. Here we come. Here we come. Here we come. And when you hear the sound of the drum, we'll be saying, here we come. Yeah, here we come. Hey, here we come. Here we come. Here we come. Yeah, here we come. Hey, here we come. Hey, here we come. Here we come.
And welcome back to Freeport High School. Dylan Butler, Ben Turchin here on the Varsity Media Sports Network. All Red Devils in this first half. 35-0 the score. We will recap the scoring now. It started with a 55-yard touchdown run by Javian Allen with 10:57 left in the first quarter. Then Osani Allen, the first of his two touchdown runs, 12-yard TD run, made it 14-0 with 7:30 left in the first quarter. Makai Jinks with a big interception. That set up Terrence Edmond, a 45-yard touchdown run, which made it 21-0. And that was still with 3:33 left in the first quarter. Second quarter, Osani Allen, his second touchdown run. That a 7-yard score, making it 28-0 with 7:15 left. That was Edmonds' 45-yard touchdown run to make it 21-0. Osani Allen, as we just mentioned, then goes 7 yards for the score, making it 28-0. And then Jinks. What a first half for Jinks. He was instrumental defensively, and then he comes up with a big offensive play as well. Here's the big catch by Schmidt. But Jinks, 35-yard touchdown run, 35-0, 5:41 to go second quarter. That's the score we're at right now, 35-0 Freeport. Both sides of the ball. Domination.
Yeah, if you're just tuning in and you missed the first half, it's about big plays, Freeport. I don't know if this is unexpected to see a score like that, Dylan. You had mentioned it late in the first half. The previous times these two teams hooked up, Oceanside hasn't found points, hasn't put anything on the board. and the scoring has been lopsided in Freeport's favor. So I don't think this is unexpected. Oceanside would have preferred to be a little different, but crazier things have happened. We have a whole second half to play.
And this is game 1 of 2 that we will have this weekend. We'll let you know about that second game after this kickoff. It's fielded at about the 4-yard line. There's the run down the right side, forced out of bounds was Braguglio, and we will go from the extreme south of Nassau County to the extreme north of Nassau County tomorrow night. We go Conference 1 to Conference 4.
Yeah, and they treat us very nicely up in Cold Spring Harbor. The athletic director, Mike Bongino, head coach John Mendreski for the football team, another Long Island champion from 2018, and everybody knows about the Seaford Vikings, elected into the Hall of Fame this year, Nassau County, Rob Perpal. They're always top dog in Nassau County, so should be another good game tomorrow night.
All right, so Oceanside will just get on the scoreboard at this point. 1st and 10 from the 25-yard line. The rush up the middle. We again mentioned at the start of this broadcast the importance of establishing the run. Now, to the Sailors' credit, they have tried. They've run the ball up the middle. There you see, again, another attempt. But, again, that front line of Freeport, especially those interior defensive linemen, are so tough to run against.
It's been tricky for Oceanside up the middle, but in the second quarter, I thought Oceanside offense was a little more creative with the runs. We saw an end around. I forgot exactly who was the guy. It wasn't Flavin, but they did move the ball a little bit.
Schmidt,
yes, on the end around. Thank you for that. And we'll see if we get a little bit more of that here in the second half.
By the way, if you add the scoring of both games a year ago and the first half of this game, it is 115-0 at this point.
I hope Rob Blount is not going to watch this back. He would not be too happy to hear that one.
Well, he knows, believe me.
But does he need to be reminded?
Well, Russ Ellen as well had said, as we have a 3rd and 4 here, this Sailors team, a very young team, will look a lot more dangerous with all this experience that these guys have. And there's that similar handoff that Schmidt had, and that's pushed forward. It'll be shy, though, of the first down marker.
You know, one thing of note here, and you had mentioned at the end of the first half that McKee wasn't in the game on a series. Well, to start the third quarter, he's not in as well. So I don't know if it's an injury to McKee and Coach Blount's keeping him out, or because of the score, if he's just not going to put him in the rest of the game. So we don't really have that information, but either way, Dylan, we now have not seen McKee on 2 series.
And that was Michael Mecca, number 4, running the offense, and it is a 3 and out. So Freeport will have an opportunity, and already you're seeing a second unit for their punt return as it very nearly hit Amos Zaraway. And if that name sounds familiar, yes, it is. Famous Amos Zaraway's son. We've mentioned on occasion, right, that Nassau County High School Athletics Hall of Fame. Well, famous Amos, very much part of that. One of the first, I think either the first or second class that he was inducted into. And now his son is continuing that legacy.
How about that? Generations. That's what you like to see around Nassau County. It'll be interesting to see who Coach Sellen trots out here on offense. If Coach Blount is putting in his reserves, you would think that would be the same. It would be reciprocated here to start the second half for Freeport as well.
Coach Sellen giving some other players opportunities.
Looks like that's going to be the case, Dylan.
Yeah, a lot of checking of the wrists for the play call, and we'll get you some of these names in a moment. Certainly Edmond is out as quarterback, and there's the handoff. It goes left. The attempt was to the aforementioned Zaraway. Doesn't get much on it. Looks like it's Michael Vasquez, number 10, in for Freeport. So yeah, a whole bunch of new Red Devils, and this is the thing too. You know, this was the same type of situation a year ago, Ben, when again Freeport kind of rolled through the regular season. A lot of guys who are now senior guys, nice cut inside out just past the 30-yard line, had an attempt, or had the opportunity, I should say, to get valuable playing experience. So even though some of those guys weren't necessarily starters a year ago, they got some time, much like these guys are getting now for what will likely be the entire second half.
Absolutely. I think it works both ways too. So we're starting to see some guys on the defensive end for Oceanside as well that we haven't called all night. This is the future, Dylan.
Red Devils about their business.
I like how you said a lot of wrist checking, because that is evident right now.
Yeah, you didn't see that with the first team guys, right? Those guys were just rolling efficiently offensively.
You also see the pace moves a little bit slower.
Nice handoff up the middle. Breaking a tackle is Zaraway. Zaraway gets into the secondary, the 20, the 10. Touchdown! His dad is famous. Maybe so is this Zaraway. Touchdown, Freeport.
Well, Dylan, it might be new players on the field, but the plays are the same. Explosive. Something like a 70-yard run there. The backups for this team doing it the same way the starters did, as Freeport opens up a 41-0 lead.
How many times do you think Ross Sellen saw his dad do that during his time at Freeport? So congratulations to Amos Zaraway. 69-yard touchdown for the senior. He had an interesting road, right? He was at Freeport. He transferred to Holy Trinity. Because he transferred, he wasn't able to play a year ago. Comes back in and has an opportunity, and Sellen said it bluntly. He said, look, he's behind a lot of very good guys. But this is how you get yourself some more playing time.
Look at this speed. In the open field, no one's going to catch him.
So Zaraway, 69 yards to the house. 42-0 for the Red Devils. We'll take a break here, third quarter. You're watching Nassau Conference 1 football on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
Join Elliott's on the Nautical Mile in Freeport all year round for lunch, dinner, or happy hour. Also available for all of your catering needs is our second-floor private waterfront dining room. Now booking all holiday parties. Check out our website for all of our upcoming events, like our Comedy Night, Oktoberfest, Halloween parties, and weekend live music.
And welcome back to Freeport.
At 7 p.m.
A cool, slightly less windy night than we had in the first half, certainly, but nice football weather. Dylan Butler, Ben Turchin, and it is all Red Devils. I mean, what a clinic by Freeport. 42-0, the score. The second unit, if you will, in now for the Red Devils, but that's how many athletes they have on this team. There's not a lot. I mean, a Zaraway, for example, will start likely for a lot of other teams on Long Island.
Yeah, but not here. You mentioned the winds died down, but the scoring for Freeport has not. Just a commanding performance today by the #1 team in the entire state.
Ball is fielded at the 5, fumbled, and there. Look at Zaraway with the pursuit.
How about that? He scores a touchdown, and he's right there on special teams.
Ends up being like a loss of 5, so Oceanside's going to start. Watch his pursuit by 24.
Amen Zaraway with the tackle, number 24.
Look at that. Just untouched, but chasing down
Once again, the
Joe Bergoglio.
I think the bobble on Oceanside allowed Freeport to get down the field and get some coverage there a little bit faster than they would have.
And the offense just keeps on rolling, folks.
So 1st and 10 from the 5-yard line.
McKee's out, Dylan, so he's definitely out for the game.
There's the handoff. It goes
Handoff.
up the middle for a few.
And I just think that's an unwritten rule, kind of that coaches know, hey, if we're not going to play our guys, the leading team, the team that's up, if we're going to put our second string in, then you're not going to play your guys. So, credit Oceanside for doing the same thing. They're reciprocating.
Yeah, and we could tell leading up to this game in our conversation with both coaches how much respect both have, right? Where Rob Blount was saying, it's unbelievable what Russ Ellen has done through his 34 years, has said that they are not only the toast of this town, but Nassau County, of the entire state. And of course, Sellen as well, saying Blount, one of the best young coaches and terrific offensive mind as well. And you like to see that. Their competitors, obviously, between the lines, but a great deal of respect between the two coaches.
Yeah, and I think both of these guys are great for high school football. Obviously, Russ has been great for so long, but you have a guy in Rob Blount who played here in Nassau County, played college at CW Post here in Nassau County, coaching at Oceanside. So, to have guys like that is only helpful and a good thing, as there's a fumble.
And returning it for, no, he looks like he's taken out at about the 1-yard line.
Now there's a penalty. There's 2 flags, so I don't know if this is going to stay. But Dylan, Freeport is so dangerous that even the backups and the backups can score.
Thought he might have been down on the play, but there you see the return.
Yeah. Oh, you mean so not a fumble?
Shakur Tucker.
Don't forget, folks, coming into this game, both teams with winning records.
It's a hold on Freeport. So that'll negate it anyway.
Oceanside Sailors with a record of 2-1.
It's funny when in our conversation I joked with Blount. Blount said Edmond reminded him of Michael Vick from back like in his Vatek days, right? When Vick was just that incredible dual threat. And I said, wow, you're being humble because you were kind of that guy for Lawrence. And he said, listen, Edmond does it a lot better than I am. And I'll be the first to tell him that. Of course, we thank both coaches as well for their time and their help and just really making this broadcast possible.
They also want to thank Jonathan Bloom, the athletic director for Freeport, for their hospitality, for having us out here with an unbelievable atmosphere. Brand new scoreboard here at Freeport.
Second down for the Sailors.
Very bright lights. You can clearly see what the score is.
I think they like that here in Freeport to clearly see what the score is.
Yeah.
A running attempt and not a whole lot there.
For a little daylight.
As we'll have, look like a timeout, or that'll be
might be the end of the quarter.
End of the third quarter.
I think that's what it is.
Well, in that case, we will take a break. It was all Freeport after 3 quarters. They lead at 42-0. You're watching Nassau Conference 1 football on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
Join Elliott's on the Nautical Mile in Freeport all year round for lunch, dinner, or happy hour. Also available for all of your catering needs is our second floor private waterfront dining room. Now booking all holiday parties. Check out our website for all of our upcoming events like our Comedy Night, Oktoberfest, Halloween parties, and weekend live music.
Welcome back to Freeport High School and the Red Devils showing why they are the top-ranked team in New York State.
Can't make it to the game.
You know, one of the things, sorry to interrupt, but one of the things around high school football this week around the state was mentioned the idea of extra games. Long Island, or really the state, plays about 8 games regular season, while other states like New Jersey, which I'm sure you're aware of, and some other states play 9, 10 games. And what would be cool, because we're talking about state rankings, right? That's done at the state level. We know Long Island doesn't play the rest of the state, but how cool would it be maybe in the beginning of the season for Freeport to maybe play a team upstate, maybe even a Westchester team or a team from Rochester or Syracuse, and kind of just have an opportunity to do that where they don't normally?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different, like my guy Jared Veluzzi over at St. Anthony's had an interesting proposition there. You see the run out towards midfield, even talking about maybe some sort of like a downstate kind of championship, right? Yeah. Maybe get like the Long Island champion, the Catholic League champion, right, and maybe get something going on there. See, I absolutely love what the LIC is, and it's an event, and you get big crowds out in Hofstra and Stony Brook. Whereas, you know, the state championship, it's up at the Carrier Dome. It's obviously a massive stadium, and you don't get big crowds unless you've got a local team from the Syracuse region. So, you know, I don't want to see the end of the LIC. Certainly, right. I think that's going to stay. But you wonder, you know, how does a Freeport, like they're number one in the state, but they don't play those other teams? How do they match up with maybe the best team from the Hudson Valley or the best team from upstate?
Right. Yeah, and I think the way that classifications work in enrollment, there are too many on Long Island, so it would be very difficult from a playoff perspective because you have so many Class A schools. As there's an opening there for, I believe, Penn from Oceanside there. Nice little run for the Sailors. But you had mentioned a playoff situation. What I've heard, and I don't know, none of this is official. They're just ideas being thrown out. But sort of like a preseason. So we had at MetLife,
yes,
some sort of I forgot the name what that was called.
The Battle of the Bridge.
Yeah, I believe it was Battle of the Bridge. I don't know if you call that preseason or non-league. Maybe might be a better term for it.
Like
but
a non-league week one.
Even. You know, late August or Labor Day weekend, I just think it would be kind of cool to see a Freeport non-league, so to speak, take on one of the teams that we're saying as an example, any different region. And maybe it's not only Freeport, maybe it's a team from Conference 1, Conference 2, a couple from Suffolk County, and you have some a big day like that.
You know what? It's funny that you mentioned that, right? I wonder, and I don't know if it's part of like the conversation that's happening on YouTube right now. Obviously, we're not privy to what they're saying,
right.
But you almost wonder, right? Like you think about how dominant Freeport is, how dominant Garden City is. What happens if they play each other? Right?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that Garden City would want that with a smaller enrollment class size. But you bring up an interesting point because I would think in Nassau these are the 2 longest winning streaks. I don't know that for a fact. Garden City, I know. I don't know for that for a fact, top of my head with Freeport. But hey, who wouldn't want to watch something like that?
Handoff goes inside. That's Jack Beer.
I guess just going back to my original point, which is unfortunate. You understand all the health consequences. You understand why this at the state level, this isn't something that's just arbitrarily decided. You know, research and years goes into it. Concussions is always talked about, so you understand. But then you look at neighboring states and you say, hey, New Jersey's playing more games than New York. Connecticut's playing more games than New York. And the coaches are starting to ask, why can't we? We're willing to give up the scrimmage week to play a regular season game. And I just think from a fan covering athletics and football, I'm just saying I think it would be cool to get 9 games, to get 10 games. and to make those games different, not to make them conference games so you have a 10-game regular season, but to do something on a non-league basis. That's what I was saying.
Steven Dagger with the run to the outside. He is halted as the names have changed a little bit defensively for Freeport, but as we said, it's year to year, but it's also here from the starters to the subs. It's been the same for the Red Devils.
One of the things that's great about the LIC that you mentioned is there are rivalries that brew. William Floyd and Freeport have met each other, I think, 5 times in the Long Island Championship. Now, Russ likes that matchup. I think he's undefeated playing Floyd.
He is, yes.
But that's a rival right there that has brewed over the years.
Nice run for just shy, looks like, of the first down.
And only a few years back, Lawrence and Sayville, for I think a couple of years, they would go up against each other.
Oh, my God. Those were like 62-45, and you had Capobianco as the quarterback for Lawrence. You had, of course, Jack Cohn as that was Mecca on the run. It'll be 4th and short.
They played 2 epic.
I think one game was like 78, right?
Yeah, that was the first time they played.
That's too much offense.
Nobody played defense in that game at Stony Brook. But then you fast forward a couple of years after that, and it was an unbelievable game at Hofstra with a 99-yard return for Lawrence that set up the game-winning drive there.
And that actually fueled Cohn. I remember speaking to him in the preseason before that, or after that preseason of his senior year, and that fueled him. That loss in the LIC, they ended up going, running the table. Sayville, they went undefeated the next year. Of course, he goes on and he's at Wisconsin, where he's now the starting quarterback.
And is that the game? That's the game, folks. That was the fastest fourth quarter I've ever been a part of.
No complaints on our side of things, but listen, huge credit, obviously, to Freeport. We wanted to see if this would be a test for them.
I just want to get a look, Dill. I'm sorry to interrupt, but Rob Blount, this is what you love about Rob Blount, okay? They just lost 42-0. He's the first guy at midfield to congratulate Freeport. That's what's great about Nassau County football right there, Coach Blount.
Yeah, listen, he is 1,000% a class act. Huge credit certainly to Rob Blount, and of course, that's the kind of guy you want leading a program, much like you have with Russell and another class act for the Red Devils. So Freeport improves to 4-0 on the season. Oceanside is 2-2. The Red Devils will go on and have a little neighborhood rivalry game where they take on Baldwin right back here next week. Oceanside looks to bounce back against Uniondale. First, though, we go from Conference 1 to Conference 4. Top 2 seeds there as well, Seaford and Cold Spring Harbor. Under the lights at Cold Spring Harbor tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night, 6 o'clock on this very channel, youtube.com/Varsity Media will be up in Cold Spring Harbor for a Conference 4 battle, and that kickoff, just like tonight, 6 o'clock.
All right, so that should just about do it here from Freeport High School. We remind you again, the final score, the Red Devils 42. They improve their winning streak now to 16 consecutive games. Oceanside 0. For Ben Turchin, I am Dylan Butler. We thank you again for watching on the Varsity Media Sports Network. We will see you from Cold Spring Harbor tomorrow night.